What you're about to see is the personal testimony of a woman who had a weird experience during a recent hospital visit. When I watch stuff like this, it makes me question how many other people out there are experiencing the same things. Welcome back to High Impact Flicks. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know, and don't forget to subscribe to my private email list through my website, highimpactflicks.com. Those links are in the description. Let's go ahead and get into the video. People ask me all the time, "Hey Brian, do you really use that keto elevate stuff, and does it really work?" The answer is yes and yes. Never in my entire life have I lost body fat so quickly. Not even in my prime at 25, which is over 25 years ago. I'm approaching 54 this year. If you want to support the channel and do your health a favor, grab some with my link in the description. I wanted to go over this right here. This is a Facebook post from some woman who had an experience at a hospital. And I wanted to show you what she had to say because I'm seeing a lot of these lately. She says, on February 1st, 2022, I visited my local emergency room, the ER in Fruitville, in the worst health condition of my life. I felt like I was going to die, and I had suffered from extremely high fevers of consistent 103 plus, in addition to intense and unrelenting whole body pain and massive migraines for over 12 hours. Instead of being treated with care or treated at all, or having any of my questions going answered about my treatment or needs, I was consistently and continuously verbally bullied about my you-know-what status for the majority of my visit. It's almost like people see you as subhuman if you haven't bowed down at the altar of Jabbo. It's a very strange thing that's going on these days, and I attribute most of the mentality of, medical professionals and just the regular Joe Schmo on the street with the 24-hour day, 7-day week propaganda campaigns. They work. Propaganda works. It works. The Dr. Venema, called this my education and focused on it exclusively through my hours-long visit. And what was at first a firm focus became a raised voice focus, and ultimately resulted in his yelling at me and bullying me about it repeatedly. I spoke to the nurse manager about my concerns, who was cordial and kind and cooperative. He said I would have to relay my concerns to the physician, and I assumed we would find some understanding and common ground to move forward. That did not happen, as when the doctor returned, he continued to bully me about my you-know-what status. And instead, time and again, insisted time and again that I got what I deserved, even though at this point I had no positive results and all testing had come out negative. Now, I don't know how to verify this right here. We're just basically taking this woman at her words, but we've seen this kind of thing, this same kind of thing, time and time again. As he continually refused to answer any of my questions about my needs or my treatment, I requested the manager again. The doctor refused and yelled, "No, I run the department." And so I got out of my bed, as ill as I was, to get the manager myself. And the doctor forcefully put his hands on me and gripped my arm as tight as he could and pulled me back toward the bed and away from the door. This is that initiation of violence on somebody who doesn't accept the current paradigm and narrative. This is the doctor. If this is true, this doctor moved forward with violence because he wasn't being listened to about his program paradigm in his mind. When I asked him to let me go, he held on more firmly and squeezed my arm tighter, all the while yelling and grimacing at me. I can still see his expressions and gestures in my mind, and I'm not one to remember things like that. Although he was physically restraining me, I was close enough to the door to open it and call for help, at which point 2 male nurses came into the room and the doctor left. I called the police, and they considered it a battery. And while we filed a report and I'm pressing charges, there's nothing that's going to come of the situation. They said that the cops say, quote, "He's a doctor." That sound that you hear is Dakota. He's got his elephant baby in his mouth. Let me show you. Oh, he let it go. This is Dakota's elephant baby right here. And he gets this whole baby in his mouth right here. And his mouth is open like this on it. And he can't breathe, so he's going. He would rather take care of his baby than breathe oxygen. That's how loving this little guy is. And one time me and Trish looked over and saw him, and he bit the elephant in between, on the stomach right here to where these two legs were covering his eyes. And he was literally blind and running into things because he was trying to take care of his baby elephant. This little guy is so funny. I'm going to take your elephant away, okay, boy? Because it sounds like he's gagging. It's hilarious. He's a good little guy. He's like the friendliest Chihuahua I've ever met in my life. I grew up with my mom. My mom had a Chihuahua for like 12, 14 years, something like that. And that Chihuahua loved nobody but my mom. And I mean nobody. As a matter of fact, loved my mom, hated everybody else. You don't put your fingers near his basket or while she's eating or whatever. So back to the situation at hand here. He's a doctor. They said, we can't take him from his patients. What? There's no other doctor to take care of these patients? They literally say, yeah, this is considered battery, but and so he basically committed a crime. He basically violated your will and manhandled you, but we can't do anything because people need to be taken care of by him. Oh, really? Then why are you putting family? It's like they don't use that same. It's like, well, we can't take that father into custody because he's got children to take care of. When do they ever use that excuse? They don't. There are other doctors. They don't go, oh, you're the only breadwinner in the house. Okay, we're not going to send you to prison for 20 years because you had an ounce of marijuana on you. They don't do that. Nobody should have preferential treatment. If he committed a crime, he needs to answer for his crime. He's a doctor, they said. We can't take him from his patients. It's a political thing. Oh, thanks. Thanks for letting us know that you're not interested in being out here on the streets and exacting the justice that you should be exacting. On the hardest, sickest, and most vulnerable day of my life, I was offered zero help, support, or compassion from the people you'd expect it from most. Instead, I was bullied and physically battered because I didn't make a similar life choice. In other words, I didn't bow down at the altar of the big farm guy. And racked up a multiple thousands of dollar bill on top of the trauma I endured at the hands of someone who should keep you safe and made an oath to do no harm. In a world where the JABBED'd are made out to be the villain, I'm confused as to how we don't look at those like this doctor who went as far as to verbally and physically assault his own patient over a choice that is not his to make. To be honest, I have not fully processed all of this and am still quite angry. No doubt. I was no doubt traumatized as I was so deeply vulnerable, unwell, and unable to defend myself. And even when my sister showed up to advocate for me or be my voice as I was supremely ill and could hardly move, walk, or stand on my own, they would not let her in, so I was left to suffer alone while the doctor continued his abuse and assaults. Please share this far and wide. Although it was considered a battery by the police, they didn't arrest him. They couldn't arrest a doctor attending to his patients, and the hospital has no desire to help me or make this right despite the egregious harm, damage, and trauma they delivered. If they can't make it right, maybe social media will. Thank you for hearing and sharing my story. I've previously had amazing experiences at this hospital with doctors, and the responsibility here for me lies with the doctor. A lot of people weighed in on this. What I'll do is, since we're on a live stream, I'm going to go ahead and put this link in the chat. And like I said, usually when this video gets done rendering, I'll just put the link down for everybody to make a comment on or visit this person's Facebook page. But this is the kind of stuff that we see time and time again, guys. We see it. People take video of it where the medical professional doesn't know they're being videotaped. And is this really the kind of world that you want to live in? Where people actually segregate? This is another part of the distract, deceive, divide, demoralize, dehumanize, and conquer campaign comes in. Because they take people, it becomes this segregation thing in the minds of the people. It's like, what? You weren't VAXX. You can't drink at that water fountain. You can't go into that restaurant. You can't go into that bar. You can't buy groceries. You won't be attended by a physician. Remember, even Howard Stern said, in my America, if you haven't bowed down at the altar of Jabbo, you ain't getting health care. You're not, you're, you had a chainsaw accident or you fell from a ladder and you broke your leg. Well, if you haven't bowed down at the altar of Jabbo, we're not going to see you. That's Coward Stern's America that he wants to live in. It's horrible, horrible stuff going on here. All right, so hey, just leave your thoughts about that for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. And I don't even know what to say about this stuff. There's so much evil going on these days in the name of, well, this is just for safety. We come on, you got to believe us. We have good intentions. We got to keep, this is for the common good. This is for the public safety. Good intentions will always be pleaded for every assumption of authority. Like Daniel Webster said, it's not too strong to say that the Constitution was made to guard the people against the dangers of good intentions. There are men in all ages who mean to govern well, but they mean to govern or control. That's what the synonym for govern is control. They promise to be good masters, but they mean to be your masters. And that's what anarchy is. It's no rulers, no masters. Just leave me alone. I just want to be free. That's it. I don't want chaos, mayhem, blood in the streets. I just want to be left alone, to be free, to make my own decisions and make my own way without being robbed and coerced and harassed and caged. So leave your thoughts about this. I want to hear what you have to say. While we have time and it still retains some of its perceived value, maybe it'd be a good idea to convert your worthless fiat into valuable, storable food. Don't be the one who waits till the food riots start happening. You don't want to be fighting panicking people in the store over that last jar of peanut butter. At Prepare with High Impact Flicks, you can get up to 3 air and watertight gasket sealed ammo cans, each filled with a 4-week emergency supply. 7 food varieties, 2,000 calories a day, 284 servings, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and each meal comes in a resealable, heavy-duty 4-layered pouch. And it's got a 25-year shelf life. Every order of a 4-week supply gets you $100 off plus free shipping. Here's how simple it is to make. I'm going to cook up some Granny's home-style potato soup. People are going to think I'm a culinary hero. You open the pouch, boil 4.5 cups of water, stir the contents, simmer on low heat for 15 to 20 minutes, take it off the heat, then let it set for 2 to 3 minutes before you serve it up.
Man, this stuff's so good. People are going to think Granny stopped by and filled your kitchen with a whole bunch of love.
Well, if Granny does stop by, she's going to fill your behind with a whole bunch of buckshot if you keep talking with your mouth full. Wipe your dang beard off. It's embarrassing. So maybe convert some of your worthless fiat into valuable food while you still can. Order now and get $100 off of up to 3 4-week emergency food supplies at preparewithhighimpactflix.com. The link is in the description.